It's a huge text, 700 verses are there. It's a discussion that goes on in the battlefield. Let me just build a little background behind it. Essentially, in the normal day-to-day life, you come across some people who are so extraordinary. The events that are around them also become so extraordinary that we don't want to lose them in the pages of history. So what happens in the Indian philosophy is that such characters, we bring them up in the form of itihasa, Purana, so that what happens, those stories become ever living. Those characters do not get bogged down, bound by the time and space. And such characters we had in India as a living human beings they were. One is Rama and the other is Krishna. Happened about 6,000 years ago, 6,300 years ago, the story of Rama. But you bring it up in such a way because the character is so illustrious that any time anybody can take a guidance from that Rama. So that's how they have created what is called as Ramayana. 26,000 shlokas, verses. It's a very beautiful story. Similarly, like that, 5,140 years ago, we had another character called Krishna. He's a simple human being, but then, like any of us, but the life was so extraordinary that we can take an information from him. Even after 5,000 years ago, today also it is vibrant. So that story of Krishna has this wonderful, extraordinary message, and that's what is Bhagavad Gita. Now normally wars are remembered because of the winner or loser or the kingdom, this and that. But this is one war that is remembered because of this text, spiritual text, which happened in the war field, Bhagavad Gita. Now, just to give a little background, the war is between two cousins. It looks like it is within the family. But then, very clearly, by the time it comes to the war field, it's almost like precipitated that on one side it's a good people, good values, good way of life, and the other side is the bad, evil. And very surprisingly, the leader of the evil army is also a good fellow. That means evil also, if it has to survive, it has to survive with good face. Arjuna is the warrior who is the leader of the army of the good people. And he was the prince basically. And the legitimate kingdom belongs to them, and then he asked for that. The kingdom, the evil king said, no, I don't want to give you that kingdom. And then says, then war has become inevitable. Not just because of the kingdom, but because the war is essentially to establish the righteousness over the unrighteousness, good versus bad. So that means to say that's a war that's going on between good and bad. Actually, when you look at this particular idea that it's a war between good and bad, then you can easily relate it with you because you always have the fight between good and bad within you. So that means to say this particular text is something which deals with our psychology. Now, often one wonders that how can a spiritual text emerge in a war field? In fact, it should be discussed in the forest, in a quiet place, in a place like Vedika Global. We have to discuss about it. How can we discuss about this in the war field? That's a basic question. In fact, it may not be so eloquently your question, but it was my question when I first took this particular text, Bhagavad Gita, into my hands. I said, why was this discussed in the war field? In fact, while giving this text, actually, every chapter, at the end of every chapter, the chapter is qualified. Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. Krishna is the Lord, he is the charioteer, and then Arjuna is the warrior, and it is the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. And this dialogue is the spiritual knowledge. That's why Brahma Vidya. And second thing is, it is the Krishna Arjuna Samvada, and this is called as Upanishad knowledge. The word Upanishad basically comes from the original text Veda. Veda has one portion where the dialogue between the student and teacher takes place of the highest kind of philosophy, and that discussion that goes on is supposed to be the extraordinary, wonderful knowledge of the mankind. That's what is Upanishad. And the very meaning of Upanishad is sitting close to the teacher, listening to the teacher, asking the questions. So exactly the same format of the teacher answering the student, and it exactly happened in the war field. So that's why basically this is known as Upanishad. But then there is also another name for this Upanishad, and that's what is Aranyaka, that which is discussed in the forest. The idea is that the teacher used to be in the forest and the student would go there, the discussion takes place. Now, before coming to this war field, that this Arjuna and his team, and they were supposed to be the good people, the good cousins, they were all there in the forest for 12 long years. And then Krishna used to go there once in a while for breakfast or lunch, and then tease their wife, Draupadi. And all that, the story is there. I was just wondering, that this knowledge is supposed to be discussed in the forest. Why did he discuss in the battlefield? In fact, he was going there in the forest when they were staying there. He could have discussed with them there. There was no hurry. Like in the battlefield, you cannot discuss for a long period of time. You have to hurry it up. There you have plenty of time. It's not just only Arjuna. There are 5 other people. Everybody could have listened to it, benefited by that. But why did he choose the battlefield? This was the basic question, because I'm an engineer. They say always that logical fellow behind. But then I had one consolation there, that is that Upanishad knowledge is always discussed when the student asks the question, teacher has an answer. Kene shitam patati preshitam manaha kena prana pradhama pratyukta. One of the Upanishad starts with this question. I don't want to bore you with all that question that is there. But then the student gives an answer. So let us suppose that Arjuna did not ask any question, so that Krishna did not have to give this knowledge. In the battlefield, Arjuna asked the question, so Krishna has to give this knowledge. Okay, given a fair chance to Arjuna, let us see what is that question that Arjuna asked Krishna. In fact, you can imagine now, the arrays of army is standing on either side, and then this leader of the good army, that Arjuna, is standing there with Krishna, and then he says to Krishna, take the chariot in between the army, so that let me see the army on both sides and plan the war strategy. This is very good, fair question that Arjuna asked, and Krishna also did exactly the same. Took the chariot in between the army and then said to Arjuna, look at the army. This is where the problem started, because when Krishna said to Arjuna, look at the army, Arjuna did not look at the army. All that who looked at them was his own brother, his own cousins, his own grandfather, his own teacher, and his own uncle. This is what he saw on either side. Now the doubt occurred in him that if I fight this war, my own people will be killed. See, that means for whose sake that I am fighting this war to win the kingdom, for whose happiness that I am fighting the war to win the kingdom, and they will all be killed. And should I really fight this war? I would like to run away from here. He says to Krishna, hey Krishna, it looks really very suspicious for me. I cannot accept it because my own people will be killed. Should I fight the war? Can I run away from here to the battle, from the battlefield? Arjuna, Krishna, when Arjuna raises that question, Krishna is standing there just smiling. Arjuna says, hey Krishna, this is not just a simple question. There's a very serious question that I'm asking. What is that? Not only the people that are going to be killed are my people, but all these people who have assembled here, they have come here with a determination either to win or die. So as a result of it, millions of men will be killed and the kingdom is left with the women, widowed women, and mentally, physically disabled men. And that kind of men and the widowed women together, you are going to create a whole society which is completely disturbed. Varna Sankaraha. Should I really fight this war? So it's a beautiful sociological question that Arjuna raised. It's a beautiful question because it's not just the society. Now I'm looking at the generation after generation. You will have a crippled generation. It's a beautiful psychological question. In fact, if the person who is standing there happened to be, instead of Krishna, either it is Confucius or Karl Marx, they would have really appreciated him. But unfortunately, the fellow standing there is Krishna. He just smiles. Says, okay, fine. I mean, there is no reason for him to even to answer him right away. Even if he would have wanted to say, hey Arjuna, war is right, not running away. Running away is not right. We can discuss it later. Now there is no hurry to discuss about all this philosophy. So continue to fight the war. Later on, let us decide about it. So he could have easily said it because, you know, people like me probably would discuss about all these things wherever it is. But you know, Krishna is a wise person. Even in a traffic, he wouldn't have liked to discuss about this. Warfield is the last place to discuss about it. But then Krishna didn't say anything. And now Arjuna goes one step ahead. He says, look, I'm worried, Krishna. It's not just only my psychological issue, but it has crippled me. My hands are shaking, legs are shaking, eyes are blurred, eyes are watering. I can't even hold the bow and arrow in my hands. My memory is lost. I'm just losing my sight. I can't even stand in the chariot. That means to say Arjuna did not have any physical fitness there. A person who has an extraordinary wonderful training in the war field and he could be fit enough to be the leader of the army suffers like that. There is no way Krishna could have told him that, look, you fight the war now, I will take care of it later. No, because minimum physical fitness to fight the war, Arjuna did not have it, period. So this is where basically Krishna starts his explanations. Now, at the end of the whole 700 shlokas, verses, that at the end, last, Arjuna says, my hands are steady, legs are steady, my memory is back, my eyes are steady, tell me what should I do? That means to say, all these symptoms are gone. And not only that, when he says that, you tell me what should I do, Krishna replies to him, do whatever you want to do. Yathechasi tatha kuru. Then Arjuna takes the decision to fight the war. That means somebody who is not physically fit, not only becomes physically fit by this knowledge, but he takes mentally strong enough to take this decision to fight the war. That's an extraordinary message that Bhagavad Gita is. So that means to say, for somebody who wants to run away from the battlefield, if this particular knowledge can make him come back to the field, battle, and then fight the war, I think this knowledge is good enough to put us into a better human being in the world. Because for us the world is like a battle. Look at what happens. You are fighting right from the morning. Early morning alarm rings, you fight with that. The fight starts there. And the breakfast, it itself means fight. And then you fight with the traffic, fight with the boss. Morning to night we are fighting. We are not even living. So if war can be sorted out, I think Bhagavad Gita can be a good text useful for the life to sort out the problems of life. That's a basic important idea of Bhagavad Gita. Now let's go further, a little deeper into understanding about the philosophy behind it. It's extraordinary because it gives a couple of 2-3 important indications for us. One thing is that Arjuna, the leader of the army, was supposed to be good, consciously good, stringently followed the good. Given a chance to be bad, he never wanted to be bad, he still behaved good. In fact, there was an occasion where he went to a celestial world and where he was supposed to be learning. He said, look, I have come here for learning. My teachers are supposed to be my parents. And then the lady there, she said, okay, you are beautiful, I am beautiful, let us get married. He said, no, 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 you are a lady from here, you are worth my mother. I can't think of a marriage for you. I said, well, in this world, there is no mother, no daughter, no son, nothing like that. We are all youth. I said, look, that may be the law of this world, but that's not the world for me. I just came here to learn. So I follow my rule. I will curse you that you will lose your manhood. He says, even if you curse, a mother's curse, I always take it as a blessing. It will be useful for me. But I don't want to do anything wrong. That means he was committed to goodness. The other side, the leader of the fellow, the bad guy, Duryodhana, was committed bad, born to blind parents. You know, the father is blind by birth, mother is blind by choice. And when both of them, when the birth is also blind, the choice is also blind, the child will be double blind. Unfortunate thing. And that fellow is bad, is horrible, and he is not unhappy. He is ready to fight the war. In fact, he tells the old man there, who is supposed to be the leader of the army, he says, why are they not fighting? And this man, wise man, he says, you know, why are you in a hurry? You have brought the war this far. Anyway, it's going to happen. They must be discussing something which is useful. And he says one very beautiful word. He said, I mean, he is supposed to have lived 3 generations. And he says, in my long life, I never prayed any God for any favor. I did it everything by my own conscious effort. I've never prayed God for anything. Whatever that has come in my way, I've taken. But only this time, this is the first time I feel like praying to the God. He's not even praying. I feel like praying to the God, and that to wind God, why don't you blow from that side to this side, so that at least a few words that I can hear, I get benefited by that. And then this evil fellow, he says, why do you want to hear what they are talking about? I can tell you what they are talking about. They must have seen the whole army and they are frightened. They must be discussing how to run away from the battlefield. Actually, they are discussing how to run away from the battlefield, but not because that they were afraid of the army. See, one's perception is like that, he is bad guy, and the good fellow, he had all the suffering. You see, good suffered, bad did not suffer. And this message of Bhagavad Gita is for the good, not for the bad. So that means to say, Bhagavad Gita is not a text which talks about what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong, what is to be done, what should not be done. It is not a text which gives you the moral code of conduct. There is a level of moral code of conduct. Yes, what is right, what is wrong. Like, don't love thy neighbor, don't steal others' wealth. All these things that are there, which is just moral standard. And if Krishna in the battlefield is telling Arjuna that don't tell lie, don't hurt somebody, Arjuna says that, look, that's what I followed 40 years. And that landed me into this particular situation. So that means to say Bhagavad Gita is not a message which talks about good and bad, right and wrong. This is a message which is, after you have soaked yourself in good, then one step beyond that. There's a whole lot of knowledge beyond the good and bad, right and wrong. Now look at all the other religions where they stop at the level of good and bad. Gita begins. where you have followed good and bad, right and wrong, soaked into it, become like Arjuna, then Gita opens to you. That's what is it is called as, you are now eligible for Gita. Because it shows that there is such a wonderful knowledge which is beyond the pairs of opposite. In fact, later on you can see in Bhagavad Gita how he takes us beyond the pairs of opposite in many ways. In many ways that he takes us. That second thing, important is that people think that just because of being good, I should not suffer. No. Don't expect that just because you are good, should not have suffering, because this fellow suffered, being good. Man, if good also suffers, then why should I be good? Why can't I be bad? The idea is that good should be followed because good has an intrinsic value, not because that you will be happy or not happy. I tell the truth because intrinsically truth has value, not because that I get good, I get benefited by that or not. But somehow the value that today it is there like this, that if I cheat somebody, let's say, I'm smart. Don't be smart. Okay? Be good consciously, righteously, and don't expect that you are going to be good because that you are going to enjoy, you are going to get life. No, it's hard. Do you have that strength to take that hardness to see that you follow the good? Then Gita starts. That's why for good and bad, to tell you what is right and wrong, you don't require a Krishna. After traffic police will tell you what is right and what is wrong, he will give you a ticket. He knows that. You don't require a spiritual person. That's why good and bad also is the worldly knowledge. Is the knowledge at the ordinary level. And Bhagavad Gita is a spiritual knowledge, a knowledge which is about the good and bad. There may be a lot of people who may be good in the world outside, but they are yet not spiritual. The spiritual knowledge is something which is high. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita later on at one place. He says, there may be millions of people out of which one would like to come to this particular knowledge. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatata siddhyet. One fellow would like to come in this direction. One fellow would like to become an Arjuna. There are many good people there, but then one would come to in this direction. But even then, out of those millions of such people, one will reach me. Yatatam api siddhanam kaschit mam veti tattvataha. One will reach there. That means to say, it's an extraordinary, wonderful journey that Krishna is talking about. Arjuna says, basically to Krishna in the first chapter, saying that, look, there itself it can give a very beautiful idea. The difference between the thinking of the blind king and also Arjuna. Arjuna is suffering because that these are all my own people. Even the enemy people are my own people. I see my grandfather, I see my teacher, I see somebody who held me by hand, taught me so many things, gave me my feet, and all such persons I have seen. And today I am fighting with them. He looks at everybody as my people. Whereas on the other side, the blind king, when he is discussing with this particular messenger who has given this message of Bhagavad Gita, he says, how is the battlefield? How are my people and the people of the enemy army? You see, he still thinks that he is the enemy. He could not identify himself with everybody. Whereas this person identifies with everybody. Even they are bad, but they are after all my own people. How can I kill them? Now when Arjuna complains about them like that look, so many people will be killed. So many people will be lost, lives are lost in the battlefield. Krishna says, such a beautiful way in the second chapter, he says, why are you talking like this? Nobody will be hurt by any arrow, any bow, any sword. Not the fire can burn them, not the water can wet them. Nobody will be killed, nobody can die. What do you mean by that? That means to say, now what Krishna is perceiving, Arjuna is perceiving is the body. And what is Krishna perceiving is the consciousness. See, it's your perception. That's what is basically makes you feel that whether something comes. He says whatever that is born has to die one day or the other. Jatasya hi dhruva mrityuhu. Everything that is born will die one day or the other. Body has the birth quality. It has to die. But then you do not have that quality. You know, often people talk about life and death question, life and death issue. Actually, they are not connected. Birth and death, they are connected. They are intimately connected. They are so closely connected, they are two sides of the same coin. Life is not connected with birth and death. Life is the span in between birth and death. But we often say life and death issue. It is not life and death issue. It's the birth and death. And another thing is, the most guaranteed thing when you are born is that you are going to die. Nothing else is guaranteed. Nothing else is guaranteed. And then we are afraid of that guaranteed thing. We are worried about that. And then Arjuna complains about that all these people will be killed. But then Krishna says, no. Why? Because he says, you are the person who are there as a child, you are the person as an adult, you are the person as a youth, as an adult, as an old person, but you continued as a common thread behind all those things. You never changed. You were there all the time. Age did not change you. The wealth did not change you. Our wealth changed outside things, like for example the body and its needs, all those things that is changed. But you have not changed. That means to say the core that you are is something which is unchanged. And then whatever that has journeyed like this, from the birth to adult, young age, adult and old age, the same thing will continue after you die. Dehantara praptihi. It also continues. Why worry about it? You are worried about something which you don't have to worry about. Because that will continue. Yes, that I, with all this technology, with all this science development age and all that, that I is remaining the same. Like for example, when I feel cold, as a child I felt cold, I reported. Today also I feel cold, I say I report. This I doesn't change. It doesn't go through all these things. With the technology development, that I did not change. I has to report. Like for example, when I was a small little child, when I was in the schools, I was sitting in the front seat, maybe 7, 8 year old. I was sitting in the front seat, and the teacher would write something on the blackboard. My friend who was sitting next to me, he would write it on his copy notebook, and then I would see that and write. Every teacher would come to me and say that, look, why are you copying? Okay? Why are you asking that question? I'm supposed to write, I'm writing. That was my... But one teacher was wise. He came to me, sat next to me and said that, look, how that fellow is writing. He said, he's looking on the board and writing. How are you writing? He said, I'm looking at his notebook and writing. Why don't you see the blackboard and write? I said, I can't see it. That means his eyes are normal and your eyes have a problem. Wow, I never realized that. You see, as a child. See, your father is a doctor. Go and tell him. He will fix your eyes. A simple solution. So I went to my dad and said this like this. Okay, your eyes are not functioning all right. Why don't you go to my friend, his own friend, he's an ophthalmologist, so he asked me to go there. And then I went there. I mean, those days, 60 years ago, back. I went there, he asked me to sit down and said, okay, so close your left eye and then open right eye. He had a chart. Asked me to read the chart. First line, second line, third line. I read everything. Complete. Then he asked me, open the left eye, close the right eye, and then read. First line, second line, third. I read everything. Okay, I think now I'll write a report to your dad. Your eyes are okay. He was about to write. But then I said to him, Uncle, I can read with both eyes closed. He said, how? What? Yeah, show me. I closed both the eyes and read the whole chart. He said, how did you read it? I said, look, my father is a doctor. He has the same chart at home. I memorized it. You cheated me. I said, look, I told you. I didn't cheat. Then I said, okay, you do one thing now. He took out a letter E chart. in this direction, all that. He asked me, read the line, nothing I could read. Then he put a bridge and then put a lens. Can you read it now? Wow, yeah. After a few trials, I could read all the letters, and then he gave me glasses. But I had to say I read it. This I who said it. Course, no technology development. I said I read it. I came out of his office. I saw, all the cinema posters. Wow. The hero looks like man and heroine looks like woman. New discovery. Now, after 60 years later, technology has developed. A friend of mine, here only in this city, said, look, I have the latest equipment, gadgets for ophthalmology. I want to test your eyes. Okay. I went there, I sat down. He put all the gadgets around my eyes. And I thought he will tell me my number. He will say, when you see it, show your finger. And tell me, yes, you see it. Again, I have to say that I did not change. You see, yes, I never changed. Throughout all these years, whether technology develops, whether your age goes on, this I does not change. Who is this I? I is that which does not have birth and death. That's what Krishna is talking about. When Krishna said that nobody will be killed, nothing can be destroyed, no fire can burn, the fire can burn body. Water can wet the body, but not your consciousness, your soul. That continues to be there. This is what Arjuna, Krishna's reply. Nobody gets killed. Why are you worried about it? It looks like that there are two different wavelengths, and Arjuna says, hey Krishna, you are talking something it seems like I don't understand. How can there be somebody who is in that particular stage? He says that's what basically the whole life journey is supposed to be. De-identify yourself from the body level and identify yourself with the consciousness. Human being is one extraordinary, wonderful creation of God, where the consciousness is a big spectrum. At the deepest level, that we are the soul, we are the consciousness, that's what is the Anandamaya Kosha, and then further down we have the intellectual sheath. This is what yoga philosophy also believes. And then below that we are the mental sheath, and below that we are the life force personality, vital sheath, and below that we are the body, physical personality. When we were all born as a children, we were all at that bliss sheath or the consciousness. We used to come to the body level only when it is absolutely necessary. That was our nature. That was our original state, our natural state. And Krishna is talking from that natural original state where you are not touched by anything because you are the bliss yourself. But the body is something which will be touched. Arjuna is talking at the body level. Children, you will see that they are always blissful. They don't have any reason to be blissful. Whereas adults, we have to have a reason to be blissful. At least to show that we are blissful, there should be some reason. At least somebody should have a camera and say, please smile. You should appear to be blissful. There should be a reason. Whereas children are not like that. They are naturally blissful. When you are at the body level, you have all the problems of the body. When you are at the bliss level, don't have any problems. You are free. You think of your head only when you have a headache, right? You identify yourself with the back when you have a back pain. That means to say, pain, suffering, these are the things when you are identified at the body level. The moment that you identify yourself at the consciousness level, you don't have any of these things. I was, long time ago, in our center, Vyasa, Bangalore University, a few people, 40-50 people were there. After the lunch, I came out in the afternoon and then children were playing. I saw the children playing. Particularly my attention went on to the kid, our cook's son, 7-year-old. He was playing with the other kids, some 10 kids. I saw he had a cut on his knee, blood was coming out. immediate impulse, let me go and catch him, say that, look, you're hurt. But then, in next moment, I thought, anyway, he is happily playing. Let him continue to play, as long as he is blissful. Identified with the bliss personality, let him be there, let me not disturb him. I was just watching him. And only thing is, I just want to help him if he hurts again. For about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, he was happily playing. Meanwhile, his mother came out of the kitchen. Mother saw the child. Natural mother comes out. Hey, you are hurt. Come here. He said, Mom, don't disturb me, I'm playing. And then continued to run. She is a strong lady. She went on his way, held him tight, stopped him, showed him his knee, and said, look at your knee. Blood is coming out. When he saw that, it's paining, lift me up, I can't walk. So far he was fine. See, when you are not associated with the body, that's what is health. Non-attachment is the health. Non-attachment is a natural state. Health is a natural state. Detach from the body level, go to the consciousness level. This is what Arjuna, Krishna is looking at. Arjuna is looking at everybody as body. Krishna is looking at everybody as consciousness. Well, it's alright. The war takes place, they get killed. They will come back again. Dehinosmin yada dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara praptihi. After the death, once again this body comes back. This journey continues. When Krishna says like that, now Arjuna, Krishna, you seem to be somebody different from normal thinking. All I see is something different, and what you are seeing is something different. That means to say, you are established yourself in that consciousness, whereas I am not. So what are the qualities of that such a person who is established in that state of bliss, state of consciousness? And this is what is samadhi. This is what is the state of the deep meditation. When somebody goes into the deep meditation, establishes himself in that state and comes back into the world to interact from that state. This is very important. It's not that only when you are meditating you are in that state, but after coming out of that meditation, you are still maintaining that at the background, interacting with the world outside. This is very, very important point. See, like for example, when I am in meditation, I am in a deep state of bliss and I am really enjoying that. But the moment when I come out of meditation, if I have to suffer, I have all the pains that is there in the world, then why am I doing this meditation? What is the use of it? The use of all these things is to see that how I can free myself from this suffering that is there in the world outside. This perception is very important. Buddha's disciple, he went to a village and there was a prostitute, very beautiful. People stand in queue to get her admission and they were waiting there, and that lady heard about this Bodhisattva coming there, and then she said to him, please, why don't you come to my house because you are a sannyasin, and then you accept the invitation. Buddha's disciple said that, look, I am a sannyasi, so I cannot deny invitation. I definitely come to you. I will definitely accept your invitation, but I do not come on this day, but I come on the day when your real nature shows up. That's the day I will come on. But she said, but today is the real day because I am youthful, I am beautiful, everybody likes me, everybody wants to come to me, you should come here today. He said, I see the beauty is there on the body, but then the day when the beauty itself manifests, I will come. She didn't understand what he meant and he went away. Another 20-30 years later, that this lady became old, so naturally the same village people who have made her prostitute threw her away, saying that you spoiled our houses, beaten her, and left her outside the village, and then she was suffering under a tree. At that time he came and then takes her head in his lap and says, my dear mother, I have come today because today your body is not beautiful, but your soul is beautiful. You look at it. The body's activity does not belong to body actually. It all is souls. I am talking not because that I have a mouth, not because that I have a vocal cord, not even because that I have a mind, but because there is a consciousness behind it. It's the consciousness which is making really this body function. But look at the way that we think that this body is functioning. We wrongly attribute that quality of consciousness to the body, and we forget about the consciousness. Like the way that you see an object, yeah, you know, that's a car, and this is this thing, this is that thing. But what you are actually seeing, are you seeing the object if you closely watch it? No, it is the sunlight which is falling on the vehicle, and that light you are seeing, you are actually seeing the sunlight. You are not seeing the car. Because if you are supposed to be seeing the car, then when there is no sunlight, you should be seeing it. There is a small little book called Mr. God, I Am Hannah. Anybody has read that? It's a lovely book. Written by Finn. And this small little girl called Anna, Finn finds her someplace, and she always eats his head. One day he is busy in the garage and she comes and says that, Mr. Finn, I want to tell you something. Finn says that, don't disturb me, I'm busy now. Not going to disturb you, I'm going to tell you. Tell me quickly, so that let me continue with my work. She says, you can't see God. Abruptly. Yeah, I can't see God. So that's all. It doesn't matter because I don't even want to see God. So, no man, I want to say that, you know, when I say that you can't see God, I mean nobody can see God. Why do you say nobody can see God? There are people who have seen God. No, they can't see. No, they have seen. How could see? That's why I told you don't disturb me. Then I'm not disturbing you. I'm just asking you. How did they see? Like the way they see car, they see this curtain. Yeah, that's how they have seen. There are reports that people have seen God. No, how did they see? Like the way that. How do you see this car? Car is there, so I see. The curtain is there, so I see. But if it is there and you see it, why don't you see it in the night? See, this is all physics. You will not understand it. No, tell me. You know, there is light, that's why you see it. If the light is not there, you don't see it. Where is the light? You know, sun's light is there, falls on this, and it is reflected, that's what you see. So you are seeing sunlight. Yeah, that's right. Okay. But then why, the same sunlight is falling on this, why do you see red car? Why do you see that green leaves? Why do you see this, yellow? See, I told you, you are too smart to understand these things. But tell me, see, sunlight has all these colors, and then falls on this car, all the other colors are absorbed. It gives a red light, so you see red. So you mean to say that there all the colors fall and it rejects yellow light, that's why you see it? Yeah. So you see this green because it rejects green light? I said, yeah. See, I can't you. But what do you mean by that? God has nothing to reject. God has nothing to reject, so how can you see Him? Which means what? When can you see it? When you are not there, God alone is there. Dissolve yourself so that you become your self-consciousness. You become yourself the sun. That's what is the idea of Sthita Prajna. Normally what happens? We have our knowledge of everything outside, whereas you become yourself the knowledge. That's what is a sage, seer. Why a saintly person is called as a seer? Because he is the person, others see objects, but he is the seer himself. That's what is the idea. Now Arjuna asked this question, that means to say somebody who goes to that self-realized position, what is he like? Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhi tasya keshava sthita dehi kim prabhasita kivasita prajeta kim. Very beautiful question that he raises. How is that person who is established in self like? Now often what happens is, people who have self-realization and all that, people mystify the whole thing, saying that, he has to have an aura, he sees golden aura. People come to me and say that, that I see a golden aura around you. It's all mystification. Or he doesn't sleep at all. He also sleeps nicely, wonderfully. He eats like anybody eats. But then people want to mystify. This is one way of mystification. Another way of mystification is when you do meditate, this chakra opens and that chakra opens. Ajna chakra opens. Why? His Sahasrara has opened. It's all words. Whereas Krishna here gives simple idea. He says, what is a person like? Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha. Now he gives 3 different positions there. They are extraordinary. Sthitadhihi kim prabhasita kim asita kim vrajeta. Now in these 3 positions he established whole life activity. What is that? When he sits all by himself, what is he like? When he is not interacting with anything, nobody there, he is just all by himself. What is he like? Second thing is, when you interact with him, what is he like? And then when something emerges out of him, when he talks or does something, what is that which comes out of him? These are the 3 positions. Now look at your life. Your life, whole life is nothing but these 3 things. Either you are sitting quiet all by yourself, or somebody comes and talking to you, or you are sitting and doing something which comes out of you naturally. These are the 3 positions. How beautifully that the whole life has been divided into these 3 compartments. Look at what happens. There are some people who are very wise, very nice, they talk very nicely, but left to themselves alone, they get bored, they get agitated, they get annoyed. So, how can you consider them to be somebody who is self-realized? Whereas some people are there, they are sitting wonderfully, nicely, quietly. But only problem is when you talk to them, finish. Interaction, they are horrible. Only abuses come out of them. Some people are there, interaction is also fine, but then they think that they manage is something which is horrible. This is where basically the whole pointer is to see that how the whole life is of a person when he is at the level of interaction. That means to say, all this growth of spiritual knowledge is supposed to help you in the daily life. And he gives such beautiful signals there. But then another important idea, Shankaracharya, who has written a beautiful commentary on this, he asked this question, that if those are the qualities of somebody who is self-realized, and I am where I am, I have all my problems, I have my difficulties, I have all these things to do, why, in what way those qualities help me? Knowing those qualities will help me. Because in the war field he is there, I have to fight the war. He says, whatever those qualities of those persons who are self-realized, which are natural for them, those qualities consciously you need to develop. That means to say, a self-realized person in the war is somebody who is just taking the war like a play. Now we have to understand that. Can we take the war also like a play? Because Arjuna is in the position of war. Can I take the war like a play? But look at the way that, you look at all our plays, football games and the basketball games and all this. In India it is cricket. It's like a war between 2 countries. My God. We can't take even play like play. We take that as war. When are we going to take the life as play? War as play. This is what is the idea. So what is a realized person? For him, life is like a play. He doesn't get bogged down by that. That's what. There will be success, failure, but the success does not disturb him. Failure does not disturb him. Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha, sukheshu vikataspruhaha, vitaraga bhayakrodaha, sthitatihi muniruchyate. Often people think that somebody who is self-realized will not have sorrow, will not have happiness. He will be like a log. He has no emotions. Please don't understand. We take it like that. In fact, he is much more emotional than anybody else. His compassion is not, doesn't even have boundaries, whereas ordinary person's compassions are in boundaries. Whereas his compassion does not have any boundary. He is boundaryless. Ordinary person's compassions are boundary. Like a bus accident takes place, God is so kind. 10 people died in the bus, but nothing happened to me. I mean, if nothing happened to me, God is great. If something happened to me, God is bad. I mean, 10 people died. Don't you feel for that? Your compassion should be for everybody. You should become compassionate. Like the way sun shines on everything. It doesn't shine, it is, look, I like this, I don't like this. I will shine on this flower because rose I like. I don't shine on the lotus because I don't like lotus. No, sun doesn't have like that. This is what. The success and failure, good and bad, right and wrong, all those things, the sorrow and happiness, they are there in the case of even the people who are realized much more than. But then, this sorrow and happiness, do not disturb them. Normal case, what happens? In fact, many times a sorrow may not disturb us so much, mind, but then happiness can disturb our mind. Happiness can create a havoc in our mind, like the way there's a patient who had a heart attack and then convulsing. So he's in the hospital and the doctor said, look, his heart is very weak. You should be very careful to see that, any information that you get, even if it is positive information, happy information, you should be very careful. You should not just give it because heart is very weak. He can die any moment. But then the wife says that, but what can I do? Can I have to give him information? Because he won $1 million in a lottery. I have to give him this information. No, you don't worry, I will give him. I'll take care of it. And then doctor goes to him and says, very casually, he says, like a play, he says, suppose you win some lottery. What are you going to do with that money? How are you going to spend? He said, Doc, at this moment you saved my life. You are my God. So half of it goes to you. The doctor had a heart attack right away. A yogi is somebody, neither the failure disturbs him, nor the happiness does not take him overboard. He's even all the time. Like the way, it's a beautiful example he gave us, the example of an ocean. Rivers come and join the ocean. The ocean is constantly active, day and night is active, and all those things that are there. But at the same time, the ocean is not looking for anything. The play of the ocean is like the way that is a joy. It's like the overflow of the joy. That's what a yogi is like. It's full of joy. Activity comes out of the joy. This is where basically Arjuna says, hey man, this state of being in the bliss is wonderful. And you say meditation and being in the wonderful state, that's what is something wonderful. But why are you asking me to fight the war? Why are you pushing me into the war? When you say that peaceful state is extraordinary, tatkim karmani ghore mam yojayasi, mam ghora karmani kyu? Why are you pushing me into that? Into this kind of a terrible activity? That's where Krishna says, very beautiful, he says, non-activity does not mean running away from the activity. Beautiful idea. Non-activity does not mean running away from the activity, rising above the level of activity. That's what I said. There is a level of above. Once you raise that level, activity, non-activity, they are mutually complementary. They are mutually complementary, they are there. In fact, sometimes they are active, sometimes non-active. This is what he says, karma, akarma, they are there in the part of life. But then he says, what is the problem is our vikarma. I mean, I can understand what is action. I can understand what is called as non-action. But Krishna brings about here this simple principle called as vikarma. In fact, a lot of times people have translated, most of the yoga books translated Vikarma as a prohibited activity. Like for example, you should not tell lie, you should not do. I mean, Arjuna has soaked in that. He did not do anything which is prohibited. He has been always good. So Krishna did not mean that. So you have to really scratch your head to find out what Krishna meant when he said Vikarma. And another thing is that should be applicable in the war field, because Krishna is giving the directions to Arjuna in the war field. Let me come to a very simple household example. How we can understand that Vikarma. What is Vikarma? It's not, one thing is, it's not prohibited activity, but it is something different. But with an example you can understand that. Like, I'm watching a nice wonderful football game, European football game between Real Madrid and Venetian, these are top teams. And going, it is so difficult. I can't even sit on the couch, I have to stand down and watch it. Just watching. And then suddenly my son comes to me, little fellow, now he's grown up. He comes to me and says, Papa, can you solve this problem? I'm busy. No, please, go and ask your mom. Because I have now two positions. One is either I do the activity or I don't do the activity. That means help him the activity, don't do the activity not to help him. Obviously I take the second position, I don't want to help him. Akarma. I say go and ask your mom. Mom says help him. I am busy in the kitchen. Now I take the next position, saying that look, whole day I worked in the office, I'm busy, I'm tired. You take care of him, because as a Hindu mother you need to take care of him. Okay? I can't take care of him. She's also smart. She says, okay, I take care of him, but you will not have any dinner. Now it's like the ball comes back to me. Now I have no more alternative, I have to take care of him. I shouted and said, okay, what is it? Tell me, quickly. From the kitchen once again the sound comes. Take care of him properly, don't shout at him. Now you hold yourself and do the activity. Why do you do that? Because you don't want to do it, but still circumstances want you to do it. So basically, you split into two personalities. One personality says, don't do it strongly. Another personality says, okay, I need to do it. There's a fight going on within me. Schizophrenia I have created. Multiple personality I have created. This is what is Vikarma. Vikarma is that you always try to do one thing, but you always create an opposite force within you, and the fight goes on within you. You are not fighting with anybody else from outside, you are fighting with yourself. Please understand that. Now this is what is Vikarma, and if I do it like that, that doing really creates a tension in me, unpleasantness in me. Why do you do that? If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But then don't create a schizophrenia, a split personality within you. And another thing is that this split personality, why it happened? Because I still have to do it. This reality outside is something which is basically important, and what I have taken the position that I don't want to do it is unimportant. See, we put, this is what is ego. The ego is always against the reality. Why? Because ego doesn't have any existence. Ego is always reality, and it is the ego which causes the problem. If I just give it up, okay, let me go ahead and do it, I am fully into that. Who created this? I created. My own son. I have to guide him. This is the situation. I need food. When I know that it is my need, I need to take care of it. I do it. When I was working as an engineer, we all used to sit together and have lunch together. My friend Mullah Nasruddin, he would also bring his lunch box. Open the lunch box, and say, look at the third thing, same roti, same dal, same sabji. One day he said, that's a poor fellow, maybe he has eaten the same thing in the morning. Second day, once again, he said the same thing. Third day, he said, fourth day, he said, Baba, every day you say like this. I mean, if you want to eat something, ask your wife. She will pack some nice, wonderful food for you. Because which wife does not want husband to eat good food? So that's what we all do. You want something else, you ask your wife. He said, you are lucky. I mean, what do you mean by you are lucky? Your wife doesn't listen to you, what you say. She also listens to you, must be. No, that's not the idea. I'm not married. Then who packs your lunch box? He said, I pack my lunch box. You pack your lunch box and you complain. This is what we all do. If Mullah Nasruddin complains, we laugh at him. But look at us, what are we doing? Right from morning, we set up the alarm like timepiece to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then when alarm goes, first thing is that, oh my God, it's already 6 o'clock, why should I get up? Should not be 6. You fight with that and get up. You fight with everything that you have to. And then you want to drive. You take the car out into the traffic is there. You wanted to drive and you see the traffic. What an answer. It's very horrible. I have to fight with this stuff. I see a lot of people beating on the steering and all that. You are fighting with yourself. You are not fighting with anybody. You are fighting with yourself. You are your enemy. Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet. This is what is Vikarma. Krishna says, give up Vikarma. You want to run away to the battlefield, forest? Go away to the forest, but I can understand you that your nature is something like fighting, which is basically your nature, and then you want to fight. If you go to the forest also, you will be fighting with yourself, because the fighting is there within you. I am here not to make you to fight the war or not to fight the war. This is not even my idea. My idea is to see that this fight which is going on within you, Vikarma that's happening within you, I am here to remove that. How to remove that? The activity that we do, we need to really make a small little change in the activity so that the activity becomes something which can really add to your pleasantness of your mind. That's what is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga comes into the picture where, how can I make an activity to see that the activity contributes towards my peace of mind rather than disturbing my peace of mind. It's not that you go to some different activity to do it, some selected activity to do it, but the activity which you are supposed to do it, you are ordained to do it, that you can make it. This is what is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga does not mean trying to do the activity what you like. Karma Yoga means doing the activity with liking. Small little difference. Any activity that you need to do, you have a freedom within you to make it liking or not liking, hating. And the moment you hate it, you are suffering and the work suffers. This is what is called as Karma Sukhaushalam. Such a beautiful definition of yoga. He says, Yogaha Karma Sukhaushalam. What is Kushalata? It is an activity that I do it. I have put my mind, body, my prana, my emotions, everything together with that. I may be just lifting my hand, but is it not just, it's not just only the hand which is going up. My prana is there, my mind is there, my whole personality behind is there. That's what I am doing it. When this wholeness is there, that's what is essentially Karma Yoga. How many other ways Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives so many suggestions. It is not to change the activity, but change the attitude. Karma Yoga is more to do with the attitude than with the activity. Activity belongs to the world outside, attitude is in your hands. Activity may not be there in your hands, but attitude is in your hands. I can take up a right kind of an attitude and do the activity so that the activity becomes blissful, or I can take up the wrong kind of an attitude so that the activity becomes painful to me and for others. It's within. Normally people do the activity for the sake of happiness. But Karma Yoga says, do happily. So that recognize happiness is your nature, let your activity come out like the way that it comes out of that happiness. That fullness. Recognize the fullness within you. From that, the activity comes out. Look at the way nature works. Nature works like that. When the tree is full, from that the flower comes up. When the flower is full, out of that fullness the seed comes up. And the seed is full. It sprouts itself like the way. The nature is always created out of fullness. And that fullness is called as trupti. Such a beautiful word in Sanskrit. That you are absolutely, totally contented, full within yourself, and then the work comes out of it. Overflowing. Work is like overflowing. When the work becomes overflowing, it's like celebration. You know what you do? When a festival comes, when we are doing the work for the festival, and look at the way that how people work for the festival. India, we are very fortunate that every month we have a festival. We're so lucky. Because we have so many gods. Somebody asked Vikarma, why do you have so many gods? He said, look, if you're really good, you can also be a god. You don't have any objection. You can celebrate. And every time you celebrate, look at the way people get up early in the morning, do so much of activity and all that. That activity that they do will never stress them. Why? Because that activity, like a festivity that you do, it overflows out of you. In fact, at our university, we have the therapy center. It's a purely 200-bed hospital yoga therapy center. People come there with chronic ailments, 20, 30, 15, 20 years. They have been taking tablets, tired of taking tablets, suffering from that. They can never imagine themselves to be free from sickness. Such people come there, and then with the help of yoga, now they become alright. Particularly those people who come with an idea that they go back home for the festival. They think that Dashara we must go back home, Diwali we must go back home, or New Year, Ugadi we have to go back home. You see, those 15 days before that who come, they go back home, 100% become alright. 100% they become alright, because the inner positivity gives you strength, gives you health. Why it happens like that? Because at the time of festival, we are doing out of happiness, joy. Can we not make every day's activity joyful? Every activity that you do flow out of that fullness? Such a person. Every moment is a celebration. God gives us a moment to celebrate. That's why it is called as present. Krishna says to Arjuna, says to Krishna, hey fellow, you are like me and you have all this knowledge. Where did you get this from? Who taught you? No, I taught the sun god. Before even creation started, I taught the sun, and sun taught the earth, and earth taught this. There is a wonderful meaning behind it. In this Bhagavad Gita, Krishna positions himself in 3 different positions. At one position, he keeps himself to be like Arjuna's close friend. Nice, good friend. Many times what you cannot tell to anybody else, what you do not want to share to anybody, you will share with your friend. You need a friend. And in the beginning, Krishna comes with Arjuna as a friend of the chariot, so that Arjuna can share his heart with him. He started as a friend, and slowly he rises his position as his teacher, as a mentor, as a knowledgeable person. And third position he takes up is the position that he is the overlord. And also, another very interesting position he says is that when he says that I am saying, it is your own conscience that is what is saying. Because We all have that within us, that pure consciousness, which is telling us what is right, what is wrong. Let me go a little away from Gita. Let me give the idea of Indian position about this consciousness, which Bhagavad Gita later on talks about it. And that is, the rest of the world thought the creation is beginning, and then consciousness is a byproduct. Like matter is the base, and then life is created on top of the matter, mind is created on top of matter, and the consciousness is a product of the matter. That means life is a product of matter. So like that they have given. That's why they say DNA, RNA determines about the life, proteins determine about the DNA, RNA. That means the matter determines the consciousness. But Indian philosophy always said it's the consciousness which is the base of the universe, and matter is the product of the consciousness. Matter is not a prior position, matter is a later position. And when you look at it, the object that is there, it has only existence. The consciousness has become purely existence. When you come to the plant level, it has become existence because plant is a matter, animal is a matter, but they are also conscious of existence. That means a first degree of consciousness is there in the case of plants and animals also. And what is that? The plant, the moment it comes out of the seed, puts its self-effort to exist, sends its roots into the soil because it is necessary for existence, and the flower sends the foliage into the sky because that's necessary for existence. So that's how basically that the plant is conscious of existence. You know, you put the seed in the soil, the plant will not send the roots into the sky, blaming you, saying that you put the seed upside down, what can I do? The plant will still send the seeds, roots into the soil because that's necessary for survival. Same way animals, they are conscious of existence. In fact, I was watching the YouTube, a little giraffe gives birth, mother giraffe gives birth to a baby giraffe, Johnny giraffe, and little fellow falls on the ground. Mother licks in the next 2, 3, 5 minutes, and this little baby, lanky legs, throws the legs into the sky, and then with the effort stands up. Immediately the first thing is that little baby giraffe goes to the mother's milk. Who said that little baby, the mother's milk is there, available, food is there? The conscious of existence tells that. Every animal has that conscious of existence. You know, in Dalamar beach, there are millions of sea turtles. They lay the eggs in the sand and they go away. Actually, 15 days later, early morning, these eggs hatch, and then millions of little baby turtles come out, rush towards water. But who said the life is there? Who said the water is there? Because they are conscious of existence. Nobody has to teach them. In fact, I went there to the Dalamar beach and then I picked up the turtle, put it in the opposite direction. The turtle turns 180 degrees and then goes back into the water. So nice to see them, conscious of existence. And human being also is not only existence, he is the conscious of existence. There is a small little video clipping I have seen that the child is taken out of the mother's womb, cleaned immediately in 1 minute, put it back on mother's bare tummy, and the child crawls and in 4.5 minutes reaches mother's breast and started suckling. Who told the child food is there, conscious of consciousness? But apart from that, human being has one more thing, that is conscious of existence, pure conscious of existence. What is that? You know, you see, a monkey is hungry and you come out of the temple. This is a common scene in India. Monkey is hungry, you come out of the temple, and anybody comes out of the temple will have banana, will have broken coconut. The monkey is waiting. just jumps and picks up and takes and finish. Hunger and the food, they are connected, that's all. Whereas in the human being, it is not just hunger and food, we have one more aspect that is there. Like you are hungry and the food is served to you, you start, there is somebody who is an onlooker, who is an observer behind it, saying that, am I supposed to eat this? Can I offer to you? Can I give it to God before I take it food? Is it right food or not? You see, should I pay for the food? So there's somebody who is watching. This is what is conscious of consciousness. We all have it. And he is such a conscious of consciousness, so pure. He's always truthful. That's why you may be telling a lie and you may be convincing the whole world that you are telling truth. But you can never convince your conscious of consciousness that you are telling a truth. He knows that you are telling a lie. You are hurting somebody. You might convince the whole world that you are not hurting anybody. You are not hurting anybody. But then your conscious of consciousness knows that you are hurting. This is what when Patanjali says, in the Yama Niyama, practice truth, practice non-violence, which means essentially he's asking us to go back to that conscious of consciousness. A child is identified with the conscious of consciousness, pure consciousness, unadulterated consciousness. That's why child cannot tell a lie, because lie is not there in his dictionary. He tells only the truth. And on Sunday afternoon I am taking rest, lazy, not in a position to, not in a mood to meet anybody, but somebody knocks on the door. My little fellow comes to me and says, Papa, uncle has come to see you. Tell him Papa is not home. He goes there and says, Papa says he is not home. He is very clear. He cannot tell a lie. Child is conscious of consciousness. So when you go to that level, this is what Krishna is talking about, which is there within you. You are a Krishna within you. Only thing is you don't identify with that. That's what is called as Krishna consciousness. That's what is called as Jesus consciousness. That's why Jesus says, those who are like a children, they can only enter into the kingdom of God. That means you become pure conscious of consciousness. This is what Krishna is talking about. Now Arjuna says, my God, that means to say you are the creator, everything comes out of you. You have given all this knowledge. Well, I am convinced, but I am intellectually convinced. I am only intellectually convinced. I don't have an experience. It becomes like an intellectual knowledge. Is there a way I can have an experience of that? Can you give me that experience? That's what is the 11th chapter beginning. You know, like Himalaya has several peaks, but the Everest is the highest peak. Gita has 18 chapters. This 11th chapter is the Everest of the Gita. That's where Arjuna asked Krishna, can I have that experience that everything comes out of you and you have created the sun, not only the sun, stars, everything that you say, I want to experience that. Krishna says, look, wanting to have that experience with your limited body is like the way that a cup wants to have an experience of carrying the whole ocean in it. An ocean cannot come into the cup. Cup will be nowhere. So nobody can have that experience unless until you become that. A cup can only become has the experience of an ocean when cup itself becomes ocean. That's all. There is no other way. You have to yourself become God, then only you can have that experience. You cannot have that experience. But then there is a question that comes up, oh, but all these things you said, if you cannot give me experience, then it may be words. I may not believe you. That's why Krishna says, even though you cannot have that experience, I still give you that experience. I still give you that experience in such a way that you can see all these things. But again I tell you that you cannot bear with that experience. You cannot bear with that. Look at the simple thing. Our eyes are the organs to see. Eyes have a power to see that we think. No, actually, you see because the eyes cut off lot of light, that's why you can see. Not because the eyes have the power to see, but eye has the filter to remove so much of light that is there so that you can see the small little light that you see. Okay? The eye has a capacity to adjust, You go to a theater and then you see the movie and come out. When you come out, when that big light is there outside, you cannot see anything. You see, the light blinds you. You think that the light is there to see? No. The light is limited so that you can see. So therefore, you are seeing not because of your capacity to see, you have limitation to see. That's why. A simple experiment is that, when people test your eyes, when the doctor wants to test your eyes, he puts the pupil dilator and those drops, and then you come out and try to drive. Every headlight becomes like a big sun in front of you. You can't see anything. You can't see anything. It's a small little droplet. You cannot see anything. How can you see sun? Thousands of suns that I am. But still I give you that power. And Krishna gives him that power. This is the only place where Krishna looks like his divinity. Otherwise he is like a human being. And then the moment he gives that, Arjuna says, hey Krishna, I just can't bear with that. I can accept that God is good. I cannot accept God is also bad. I can accept that good comes out of God. I cannot accept bad also comes out of God. I can accept birth comes out of God. I cannot accept death also comes out of God. Please take away all these things. Let me see the simple picture. Let me devote. This is where basically the whole process of surrender yoga comes into the picture. Bhakti yoga. Such a beautiful chapter, Bhakti yoga. It flows like the way after big thunder, big rain and all those things, everything quietens. Then you can see the nature. Lovely, beautiful. That's what is Bhakti yoga. You feel your heart is full. That's what is the way. Like this, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita introduces all these different types of yoga for us. Bhakti yoga, Karma yoga, and this knowledge, Jnana yoga, and also the Raja yoga. All these yogas he introduces. But at the same time, why is he introducing all those things? He sees that you rise from that level of body identification. At the body level, good and bad, right and wrong, birth and death, they are there, but you rise above that level. So that this is a wonderful spiritual journey. Look at what is the way that Patanjali gives us the idea of yoga. Yama Niyama at a simple ordinary interaction level, and then the body level asana, then rise above that level to go to the prana. Further you go up into the mind level with the help of dharana, dhyana, samadhi, and then go beyond, become pure consciousness. And whatever that Patanjali gives us its spiritual journey in the name of yoga is the way Krishna is also helping Arjuna to go to that level. And this journey is made possible by this whole wonderful exploration that Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita. A few important ideas that he gives about, which are an extraordinary, wonderful character of this particular culture that you can see. One thing is that the good and bad, they are like two streams that are going on, flowing. There is always good, there is always bad. Both these streams are there. They are like streams, they are flowing. You can never do good, you can never do bad. Only what happens is, which is a stream that you would like to join? Please understand that. It's not that you are doing good. Don't brag about that you are doing good. Only thing is, there is good which is happening. You just join that flow called good. That means, you should really thank God that has given you wisdom. He has given you an avenue, like good that is happening, so that you can join that. You have to be humble, being good. The same goodness when you are Not humble when you are arrogant. It is, I am doing good. Finish, that good becomes bad. The good and bad does not intrinsically belong to the object outside, but what is the idea behind it? Are you becoming good by choice? And being humble, that's what is important. When Vivekananda came to this country, when he was in Detroit, he gave a wonderful talk how to help people, how to do this, about Karma Yoga. Those days, one of the richest persons of America, Rockefeller, he came to him and wrote a $10,000 check to him and then gave it to him. He said, I think you should be happy with this check. In the way that he gave it, the way that he said it, there is so much of arrogance. Swamiji immediately picked up that check very carefully, humbly, gave it back to him and said, the day you feel happy, give it to me. Not because I feel happy. He didn't immediately understand what he meant. He said, I'm giving here $10,000 check. Those days $10,000 is big money. And then this man is returning. He's coming for a poor country and all that. So he took that check and went back. A year later, he came back to Vivekananda and said, can you please accept this check? Because since the day that you have returned the check, I lost my sleep. I feel so humble now to give this money. I feel that this money that I give you will be of a good use. And today I feel that I am satisfied that God has given me an opportunity to do something good. It's easy to do good, but not to be arrogant about the good. It's very difficult. Good and bad, they are happening. Join the stream of good. Good has always been happening. What happens with us is that because that we think that we are doing good, we are looking at whether it has given the good fruit or not, right fruit or not. So that's what Krishna says, that look, doing an activity is in your hands. Don't look at the fruit of action. Fruit of action does not belong to you. Don't look at the fruit of action. You mean to say that there is no fruit of action? Don't worry about that. Doing activity is in your hands. Do it. Good activity. I mean, I'm not expecting anything in return, but what I want to do is to see that at least it should have good fruit, a good work. Even that you don't accept it. A young group of people charged with the ideas of Vivekananda want to do service to the social service to the humanity. In Chennai, 6, 7 of them, and in a premier college, IIT, and then they said, okay, we have to help the poor, so they found out a slum, went there and saw the children are dirty, water is flowing everywhere, streets are dirty, houses are dirty, there's a good place to make a change. They morning to evening on a Wednesday worked cleaning the whole place, training the water in the right direction, cleaning the children and cleaning the houses, everything. By evening, the whole place looked clean, spick and span, and they were very happy, proud. Good work we have done. We see the good result. I don't think Krishna did not meant about this. A week later, next Wednesday, they came back to the same village, same slum. The slum was back to the original position. They thought that one day you cannot bring a change in the society, so let me go and clean the whole place. And then they went and cleaned the whole place and did all those things morning to night. And then evening, everything is looking beautiful. People are happy, they are happy. So they came back. Third Wednesday again they went back. The slum was back to the original condition. Cleaned the whole slum. 1 or 2 days they will not learn. Maybe after some time they will learn. But by that time, the authorities in Chennai came to know that these are the young people, good volunteers. We can use them for good immediate emergency services. And that Wednesday there was some fire accident somewhere. Immediately they needed volunteers, so these people were diverted there. So they went there for that Sunday, Wednesday, and next Wednesday, that means 15 days later, they came back to the slum. The slum was back to the original condition. That was okay, but the moment they landed there, the people in the slum, they came to them and asked, what happened to you last week? Huh? You know, government authorities are not reliable, but you people also not reliable? We thought you will come and clean the place. Now you are angry, upset, disturbed. Why? See, so much of work that we have done, thankless. Nobody recognized. In fact, on the other hand, they blame us. See, this is what. You are doing good work. Even recognition, wanting to look for recognition is also expectation. Don't even expect that. You know, look at what happened. All the other 3 weeks, you enjoyed doing the work. Is it not the work gave you joy? Did not the work give you joy? You got it. But then why do you expect now? The very expectations bring us unhappiness. This is what Krishna says. Unhappiness is not in the world outside, it is there in your expectations. Great people are great. They did good work, but they did not expect anything in return. Look at the way what happened to them. Jesus Christ gave such a wonderful message, but look at what happened to him. Crucified. Krishna gave such wonderful message, but how many have really changed? You did not expect anything in return. The same way Socrates has given an extraordinary wonderful message. He was given a cup of poison. But then why did they do good work? They did good work because they did not want to see the result. But the good work will have good result. Jesus gave that message 2000 years ago. Today people remember him. Our anxiety is, I must see the result. I must see the good result. That means to say you don't have confidence and goodness that you are giving. If you have goodness, confidence and goodness that you are giving, you don't even look back at the result. You do good work and then go ahead. So it's not just doing good important, but doing good with that confidence that goodness will change the world. This is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that you take care of the goodness. Goodness will take care of the world. Don't look at whether the world changes or not. In fact, recently I have seen one small little YouTube in India that was there, which we have shown in our institute there. There, big heavy rain, thunderstorm and all that, and a tree fell down on the way, and the vehicle stopped on either side. Everybody is honking, everybody is shouting, everybody is blaming. When all these things are happening, one little small school boy comes and it is raining, he gets wet in the rain. Huge log, it is bigger than him, even in the height. He is trying to push that log. He is trying to push it. You know, how can that log doesn't even just make a small little iota of change. But it might not move the log, but it moved the people. One after the other, one after the other. Everybody got out of their cars and then everybody put their hands and then moved that log away from the road and the vehicle started going. It's a simple 2 minutes clipping, but so informative. You do the good work, good will change the world. We have to have that confidence in the good work. Goodness is not outside, goodness is there within you. It's original. In fact, such a wonderful assurance Krishna gives. That day, when I read that particular shloka where Krishna says to Arjuna, that you are a good fellow. Ah, tears came out of my eyes. Goodness is our own nature. Bad is not our nature. Bad comes out of our ego. Look at your anger, comes out of your ego. Your jealousy comes out of your ego. Why are you angry? Because that fellow did not do the way that you want him to do it, that I want him to do it. That's important. I told him this way that he did not do it. Or I become jealousy because I don't have it, you have it. That I is important. Dissolve this I. Bad goes away. We try to remove anger, we try to remove jealousy, we try to remove hatred. Don't try to do all those things. Go to the root. That's what is surrender the ego. When you give up this ego, God alone exists. That's what is the message. One wonderful saint in India, this Kabir, he says that I was searching for you, O God, in hills and forests, mountains and rivers. I was searching for meadows and greens. I never found you. Today God is searching. Where are you, Kabir? Kabir is not there. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gives a very beautiful analogy for that. The whole journey of Bhagavad Gita is like the way a salt doll went to measure the depth of the ocean. And as it was going, after the doll itself is not there. So with the help of Bhagavad Gita, let us dissolve this ego. Now let us go back to the first chapter where I said, Arjuna says to Krishna, my people will be killed. You see, Arjuna's problem occurred because that it is my people. If they were not his people, he would have fought war. So the question is not fighting the war. The question is not establishing the righteousness or anything like that. But Arjuna's real problem, hurdle, was that my people. So dissolve that. That's what is the message of Bhagavad Gita. I just gave the whole overall run through these shlokas, but extraordinary, wonderful. Each shloka, we can spend an hour on that. Please study Bhagavad Gita. Whatever translation, whatever that you get hold of it, read Bhagavad Gita. It's the most wonderful text on this earth. Thank you.